Hey everyone! Again, how's it going? In yesterday's video, we saw how Ho-Oh handled Pokemon Gold. If you haven't seen that video yet, please give it a watch because today, we're going to be handling the second box legendary, Lugia. Now, Lugia is an interesting Pokemon. While it has the same impressive 680 base stat total as Ho-Oh, in theory, its distribution is less optimal. Lugia's attack and special attack, while equal, 90 is just okay. For a great Pokemon, pretty bad actually. Its defense and special defense sky high, but in a solo run, that's not really necessary. We want to KO things quickly. That was Ho-Oh's big problem. And unlike Ho-Oh, which got the 50% chance to burn Sacred Fire, we just get the increased critical hit ratio Aeroblast. I love this move as a kid, probably because of the animation. Sorry we can't turn it on, but you know, gotta go fast and all. But that seems like a serious downgrade. Otherwise, Lugia's move pool looks similar to Ho-Oh's, but there's one thing that I noticed that may be kinda helpful. Unfortunately, however, another thing I noticed is other than Aeroblast, Lugia will not get to take advantage of its typing, Psychic Flying. A lot of people think it's Water Flying because, I mean, that would make sense. But no, it's Psychic Flying, and we're not going to get Psychic until after the Elite Four. Is that going to be too little too late? Does Lugia have no shot at being a decent legendary Pokemon? Let's find out. But first, a big thank you to our sponsor for today's video, Boot.dev. Boot.dev offers you a way to learn back-end web development in the Go and Python languages. At Boot.dev, they understand that the best way for you to learn code is to make sure you're not bored. So they've structured Boot.dev like a classic RPG game, complete with achievements, quests, leaderboard, experience points and leveling up, all that fun stuff. They also understand at Boot.dev that the best way to learn to code is by coding a lot. And so the courses are really geared towards getting you to write a lot of code. Now, one really cool thing about Boot.dev is that it's free to watch and read in guest mode. But if you want the interactivity, the gamification, the hands-on coding, that does require the membership. And speaking of the hands-on coding, if you do ever get stuck but don't want to get the answer, which is something you can do, you can consult with Boots, the AI companion. Rather than just spoon-feeding you the answer, Boots will ask questions trying to deepen your understanding in what went wrong, so you can fix the issue yourself, which I think is really great. If Boot.dev sounds like something you'd be interested in, well, good news, I have a promo code, JRose11, and if you use that code, which is in the description or pinned comment, you'll get 25% off your first month if you pick the monthly plan, or your first year if you pick the annual plan. Alrighty, so let's start again at Falkner. Lugia has 2 Aeroblasts left, same as Ho-Oh had with Sacred Fire, and pretty sure it both one-shot. I mean, getting critical hits is part of what Aeroblast is, which is fine. And if you watch the Ho video, you know that Mud Slap will be used to get by the mandatory Hiker and his 3 Geodudes. The next battle of importance is Bugsy, and this time we actually have 4 Aeroblasts, which is good. Scyther does outspeed, which, not a big problem. Last time it used Quick Attack, so I couldn't even tell it was going to outspeed. But 3 Aeroblasts, still super effective. So right now, Ho and Lugia pretty much have had the exact same early game. Rival 2 isn't going to pose much of a problem for Lugia either. Aeroblast easily one-shots Ghastly, Zubat, and since Crocodile knows a dark move, I picked Totodile as the opposing starter, but Lugia does have the advantage of not being directly weak, although it's not like Ho really struggled with the rival, it's why I barely mentioned him. So this allows us to move on to Whitney. Now, last time, Sacred Fire proved pretty helpful in defeating Whitney, but Lugia doesn't have that. On the other hand, Lugia does have a lot of defense, and it isn't Fire type. So, is this going to be a first try victory? Well, first things first, we do outspeed Clefairy, we don't one-shot. Hidden Power, which is actually banned in these runs, doesn't do very much. Now, Miltank does hit us with Rollout once, twice, thrice, and we are on ice. I actually think that Hidden Power from Clefairy may have been the difference, funny enough. So this time it goes for double slap. That's still, we might need those 6 HP. Rollout, Aeroblast. Oh, there's a crit we can't have. And oh, okay. Well, second try. To be fair, I was hoping for a critical hit. We are using a increased critical hit ratio move, although again, that is way less powerful than 50% burn. But whatever. So Lugia's first loss comes a little bit earlier than Ho's did, Gym earlier. Having said that, versus Morty, as we make our way to him, Lugia, if you may notice, is 20 base power points. It's faster, substantially, than Ho-Oh, to the point where we might actually outspeed the Gengar, and with a physical attacking move, this actually may be easier for a Lugia, despite the fact, in this case, we're going to have a type disadvantage. Well, as I go for Surf against Ghastly, you're going to realize that I kind of decided to make extra sure this battle would go well, and yeah, it did. Aeroblast completely obliterated the other 3 Pokemon, but in this case, I decided to battle the Kimonos first. The Kimonos give you Surf, and Lugia getting Surf may be a game changer. While it's not same type, it is 95 base power, it has a decent amount of power points, and it is a one-turn attack. Unfortunately, this means we can't directly compare our results versus Morty, because I'm sure Ho-Oh would have benefited from battling the Kimonos first as well. But in Ho-Oh's case, getting Surf early and battling the Evolutions almost felt like it would be more difficult, while in Lugia, it felt like going out of my way a little earlier would make sense, because I really want Surf as soon as possible, especially because it dramatically sped up the random trainers in Morty's gym, where when I had my Ho-Oh, I had to either resort to Mud Slap or go back to heal, which wasted time. Speaking of time that was wasted, Chuck I didn't have a good flying move for, but now I do. Aeroblast. I don't need HP, I don't need power points, I just need 2 Aeroblasts, and Chuck is... I mean, you can fill in with whatever word you feel like there. For some reason, I can't think of one. But we're gonna get Fly now. In this case, we don't want Lugia to learn Fly. We already have Aeroblast, that's way, way better. So we just have to get a dedicated flyer. Now, I don't need to battle Jasmine now, but I'm here and it would be faster if I don't have to backtrack. So let's do it. Remember, Ho-Oh was able to take out the Magnemite with Sacred Fire. We don't have that. I was curious to see how much Mud Slap would do, and it does about half. Unfortunately, that's not nearly enough. We get paralyzed and we would have lost. So that may have been a bad call. Let's just see how much Surf will do. I actually go for Safeguard first. I'm learning, and Surf also does about half, but unfortunately, Thunderbolt just does a little bit too much, and I think it's clear we can't beat Jasmine right now. That's okay. These are different Pokemon after all. A little bit of backtracking isn't a big deal. And remember, Lugia is actually way more bulky than Ho-Oh is. But yeah, there's plenty of annoying underleveled Team Rocket trainers to get some experience points, and before we battle Jasmine, we can battle Price. Alright, so against Price, we do have to go for Aeroblast and Critical Hit One-Shot Seal. Don't know if it mattered. Well, it would have mattered against Dugong. We do just over half, and we knock it out quickly. And then Piloswine, we have Surf, which is going to be a 2-shot, and Piloswine does go for Blizzard, then heals, so it's actually going to be a 3-shot, but easy peasy. Still takes some damage. I mean, Lugia, unlike Ho-Oh, did not have a very good type matchup versus Price, but we got those valuable experience points. Will that be enough to beat Jasmine, however? Jasmine leads with Magnemite as always, and I forgot to heal. Great. Well, Thunder Wave misses due to Mud Slap. That's pretty cool. And if it misses... Oh my god, we just won. Well, I think we just won. Did we? I'm gonna go for Surf. Okay, Iron Tail misses. Yay, we won! Hooray! That was my bad. Forgot to heal. Technically faster, because one less heal, but also not really what I intended. Still... we take those, and after doing some tedious Team Rocket stuff, we only have one more gym leader left, Claire. You might be wondering why I'm running back and forth. I'm sure with all the processing you can't even tell what I'm doing, but I'm actually modifying some video settings and seeing if my stream can notice. I actually can sort of notice when I look really closely what I'm doing. But yeah, if you guys ever wondered how meticulous I am about trying to get the best visual quality, this is a pretty good example of me literally running back and forth to see if I can notice any motion blur or artifacts. I spend way too much time on something no one would ever care about. But something people do care about is how I'm going to battle Claire. Now, Claire's a really good example of how much Surf helps us. And you might be like, what the heck does that mean? You're going to use Surf in this battle? No. I'm going to use Safeguard to make sure I'm not paralyzed. But Ho didn't really have that opportunity. Ho had so few power points, we needed each of our 4 move slots to be an attacking move. But Lugia doesn't have that problem. 15 for Surf is more than enough with the 15 for Shadow Ball. That means we don't have to reset over and over again. And without the Dragon Pokemon's ability to paralyze us, we can pick them off one by one with Aeroblast. Another massive difference between Ho-Oh and Lugia. Lugia's signature move, one-shots, Ho-Oh's was resisted. A surface level read of the battle would just notice that, but looking at more broadly the advantage Ho-Oh has over Lugia, Surf specifically really just has this positive cascading effect. And if we can keep Safeguard through to Lance, that might help there as well. However, I'm not sure if we're going to have that luxury. As Freezeye has called it, there is a bit of a 4 move slot syndrome thing that goes on with some of these stronger Pokemon. We have so many useful moves, but only ever can use 4 of them at a time. I'm not sure if Safeguard is going to end up being one of them. I do see ways to get by some of the Elite 4, but on the surface, Lugia is going to have a bit of a harder time. Less attack points for Will, no direct strong move for Koga, a direct weakness to Karen. I'm not really sure if all the gains Lugia made are just going to get lost prepping for the Elite 4, but the only way to find out is to actually battle them. Alrighty, so Will is our first battle, and we're just going to go for Shadow Ball. It's still one-shot Xatu, which is really great. Jinx comes out next because it's strong against the flying type, but its defense is terrible. We don't knock out Xatu number 2 in one hit, so it confuses us, which is annoying, but it can't really do all that much to us, even with the worst luck in the known multiverse. I mean, I guess the multiverse isn't known, so the unknown multiverse. Anyway, we're at 68 HP when we make it to Slowbro, but it just goes for Amnesia because it forgets how to be good. And with Executor, I'm not going to take any chances. We're just going to Aeroblast, and we're going to beat Will. Now, Koga could be pretty annoying. Sacred Fire definitely was quite helpful in our previous battle. Is Surf going to be able to pick up the slack? Let's see. So Ariados, we do have Aeroblast, and it one-shots, not surprisingly. Fortress is next, and I just go for Surf, and it's a 2-shot. That's really good. Crobat is next, and I decide to go for Aeroblast, and here's where Lugia's speed makes a difference. Unlike Ho-Oh, Lugia outsped Crobat, thus it was not able to get off a double team, and I was able to 2-shot it. Venomoth comes out next, and an Aeroblast is super effective against that. And now Muck, I decide to go for Aeroblast. It does more than I expected, Minimize is annoying, and Surf doesn't knock it out. Surf then misses, and we're looking like we might lose if we miss one more time, but thankfully, we hit. We should have gone for Aeroblast again. This is also why I always bring full restores and not hyper potions. Heal up that poison, and get ready to battle Bruno. Now remember, Bruno was really annoying because Fly didn't work versus Hitmontop, but if you notice, I forgot to Ether. So after we one-shot Onix with Surf, I need to decide what Pokemon I'm going to use the last Aeroblast, and I decide it's going to be Machamp because it has a rock move. That means a 3-shot versus Hitmonchan, and I actually forget what I was doing against Machamp. I go for Surf, which I did not mean to do. That's a wasted move. And then Hitmonlee has weak defense, so I just go for 2 Shadow Ball, and although it wasn't the prettiest battle, it's still Bruno. And recall that unlike with Ho-Oh, we still haven't used the rare candies, which this time I got in advance. Karen is definitely the most concerning Elite 4 member. I mean, I hate the whole accuracy lowering shtick, but also being a dark type. So we're going to go for Safeguard, and that doesn't protect us versus Sand Attack. That only would protect us versus Lick, and she has lowered our accuracy to the point where we may lose. And then Safeguard fails, and we knock out Umbreon with 44 HP. Aeroblast hits Murkrow. Okay, some progress here. Houndoom, we do have Surf, and it hits, wow. But it doesn't knock it out. Houndoom knocks us out, and so not sure what I was thinking there with Safeguard. The move we would need to have used is Mist. I mean, I was worried about Confuse Ray, but yeah, lowering accuracy is definitely the bigger concern. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do here. Well, before doing anything too rash, I'm just going to battle the Elite Four again. No reason not to. And look at that. Critical hit Aeroblast really did the trick there. So looks like I was overthinking the heck out of it. Having said that, you'll notice I also did use the rare candies. So can't say that didn't help. Because now look versus Houndoom. Surf still doesn't one-shot. And that still does quite a lot of damage. I mean, Houndoom's a pretty strong Pokemon. You know, it's one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 2. It's in my Gen 2 teams, at least after Kanto. But everything else after Houndoom goes down really easily. And at level 52, we have made it to Lance. Now, Ho needed more horseshoes available than there are in all the stables in Canada. But will Lugia require such crazy luck? Well, we're going to delete Shadow Ball and teach Icy Wind, another move exclusive to Lugia. Will that be enough to one-shot the Dragonite? Let's see. We Aeroblast Gyarados, no crit, but I'm going to go for Safeguard, because why the heck not? And I think that's GG. I think that's GG. Icy Wind doesn't one-shot, Thunder can't paralyze, and we knock it out. Rain ends, Blizzard doesn't freeze because Safeguard still lasted. We have 67 HP. This is going to be really close, but this strategy is working pretty well. Aerodactyl, we outspeed because we're wow, we survived. Okay, the bulk that I said didn't matter is coming in handy. Hold up. Aerodactyl is done. Charizard, Surf, Flamethrower. Okay, well, very close. Impressive. But Lugia is going to need a little bit more firepower. Or should I say ice power? We're going to give it the Never Melt Ice, and in this next attempt, I have made it back to Lance, and with the 10% bump and some calciums that I bought, is it enough? I'm going to go for Aeroblast. Ooh, we knock it out. That wasn't supposed to happen. But I'm going to outspeed and go for Safeguard. And now I forgot Icy Wind. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going to go for Shadow Ball. Oh, come on, me. What a mistake. But, you know, we can at least see how this battle would go if I forget the move that is supposed to bring me to victory. Oh, Surf knocks it out. See, the calciums help. And then Charizard, Flamethrower. I actually just wanted to lose this battle, but hey, we've made it to Dragonite number 2. If we crit, we win. We don't crit. That would have been pretty funny. I would have liked that, but yeah, let's do that, but not forget the move that I'm supposed to use to win. Okay, so if I didn't forget Icy Wind, would we have Icy Wind? Okay, that's stupid. Anyway, we get another critical hit Aeroblast, and Dragonite, Safeguard, Thunder Wave, perfect. It's always going Thunder Wave turn 1. Icy Wind, critical hit. Can't tell if the Never Melt Ice mattered. It did. Okay. Well, oh, I didn't mean to go for Icy Wind there. Okay, that was a mistake. Anyway, okay, we took extra damage. Not the end of the world. We don't knock out Charizard in one hit still, and it's probably going to be a 2-shot versus Dragonite. Yeah, Safeguard's fine. Full restore. We won. Yay! I mean, even if Outrage were to crit and a miss, which doesn't happen, let's go! I was thinking of like the worst case scenario, 5% miss, critical hit Outrage, you know, the reverse of what happened with Ho-Oh. But in our third attempt, what should have been our second attempt, Lugia was able to beat the Elite Four. So both Ho-Oh and Lugia had relatively easy times, although frankly Lugia had an easier time. But none of that really matters if Lugia can't defeat Red. I mean, before red, we do have the Kanto Gym Leaders, so let's quickly recap the way I'm going to just trounce all of them, but we all know what we're prepping for. I go in the same order I tend to find fastest, where we battle Erica first. I mean, heck, we can use Icy Wind to Icy Wind. I already made that pun like 3 times. Next, we can battle Janine, who almost feels like she's Surge's daughter and not Koga's, because, I mean, at least Koga beats me from time to time, but Janine is so pathetically weak. Like, come on. You're not even trying. Even though we don't have Shadow Ball, we still have Aeroblast, which is like better Shadow Ball, but potentially can miss. But it doesn't, so Sabrina's really easy. Yay! Can't even really hype up Misty as any kind of threatening here, because unlike Ho, Lugia has no type disadvantage against her. And so, although sometimes it took more than one hit to knock out a Pokemon, she's a joke, like they all are. For Surge, however, I make a bit of a change. I don't need Icy Wind anymore, so I teach Psychic. Part of it was so I don't have to heal in the Pokemon Center, and Psychic actually doesn't one-shot Magneton. I was kind of curious whether it would, but that's okay. Electabuzz, Electrode, and so, by the way, finally, after how many gym leaders is this? Like 12? We're finally taking advantage of our other type. It took a while, but yay, better late than never. With both Surf and Psychic, I don't even need to pretend like Brock would be anything but a joke. In fact, I went for Aeroblast versus Graveler just because, well, actually because Surf was supposed to be there. I tried to reorganize my moves and I messed up a little bit. So that wasn't really showing off. That was the moves being in the wrong order. But yeah, Brock was pretty easy. Now all that's left is Blaine. And as the saying goes, the rain in Blaine causes all the pain. Again. Okay. But now we have Blue, and you're all probably feeling blue after hearing my jokes. Don't quit your day job, Jaros. It's like 5 in the morning when I'm recording this. Just give me a little break. Blue actually could genuinely be a little difficult. Against Pidgeot, I go for Psychic, and it's going to be a 2-shot, but once again, Leftovers Recovery, so we're at full HP. Rhydon, strong against us, weak to Surf, so that didn't work out for him. Alakazam, Aeroblast is a pretty good move. Gyarados, Aeroblast is a pretty good move. Not enough to one-shot, but Psychic finishes it off. Arcanine, well, it's raining. Extreme Speed hits me, but Surf one-shots. And finally, we have Executor, and what a snore. I meant to go for Aeroblast, and the up button stuck, so we had to hit it with Surf first. But Blue is defeated. All we have left is Red. Now, Ho-Oh really struggled with Red, specifically trying to get past Pikachu without getting hit, and trying to get past Snorlax, and trying to get past Blastoise. But this is another situation where Lugia has a massive advantage. There is no Pokemon that is as directly threatening as Blastoise was. Oh my god, I always forget to talk to Oak, but let me keep talking for a second. For Red, the biggest advantage Lugia will have is even though it'll do less damage, no single Pokemon really destroys Lugia by themselves. It's gonna have to be a team effort. So as long as we can figure out a way to deal with each Pokemon on an individual level, it's not quite like the last battle where I really just had to throw everything at Blastoise to the detriment of the other Pokemon. With that said, Lugia has a better time than Ho-Oh going into the battle by about 20 minutes. If it can win right away, Lugia will be, other than Mewtwo, the best legendary Pokemon, which is kind of shocking to me, but let's see if it holds up. All right. So, Pikachu comes out, and we outspeed it. And Charm misses, but we actually don't care as much about Charm. I mean, we do have Aeroblast, but this is huge. The fact we outspeed Pikachu opens up a ton of possibilities. With Blastoise, Aeroblast is worse than Psychic, and Blizzard crits, which is terrible. It does miss the second Blizzard, so scratch that on Blastoise not being as big a problem. Now Espeon comes out, we outspeed it, and Aeroblast does a lot, but Reflect. Rain is still up, so I can go for Surf, and Psychic is not very effective, so we actually are net positive here. I try to get a crit, doesn't work. Try to get another crit, doesn't work. No paralysis though. I go for Safeguard to not get paralyzed, but it's just a little too late, a little too wrong, and we lost. So, we don't really need Safeguard. Can we get rid of it for Giga Drain maybe? That could give us some precious HP. I have to think about this. Alrighty, so in this battle versus Red, only a couple minutes have passed, and I've taught Toxic. We're gonna stall. Hooray! That's what all fast Pokemon do. Pikachu thankfully doesn't hit us with Charm or Thunder, and we knock it out. Always helpful. And I go for Psychic, Rain Dance. So Toxic is not for Blastoise. Who's it for? Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious who is it for, but you'll see in just a second. It's not Espeon. I go for Aeroblast, Psychic, and I actually can go for Aeroblast again, because no Reflect. That's pretty good. And now Snorlax, I go for Toxic, and it goes for Amnesia. And now if I get good luck with Aeroblast, then perhaps with the Toxic plus Aeroblast, it won't go for Rest. That didn't happen. I knew it had Rest, but I was hoping the math would work out for me. But no, it doesn't. It worked out poorly for me. Boo, but then we get a crit. Yay. But then it uses Snore. Boo. But then we get another crit. Yay. Now Charizard is out and I go for Surf, but it does less than half. And Flamethrower does more than half. And then Surf doesn't knock it out. And then it crits. Progress. Toxic probably not the right move, but progress. I mean, listen, I have a lot of TMs. One of them is definitely going to work. This time, the TM of choice, Earthquake. Knock out Pikachu in one hit. Let's see if it works. It does. Well, that makes the runs a lot more consistent, but not helpful versus Blastoise. Rain Dance after a Psychic. Blizzard hits. That's unfortunate. Psychic. Oh, 3-shot. Pretty good. Now, Espeon is out. I go for Aeroblast. Crit would be nice. Reflect is bad, but I can go for Surf and knock it out. But now I really could use a hit versus Snorlax. A critical one. I'll go for Psychic before it goes for Amnesia, but its special defense is really high. I get a crit with Psychic, which is hilarious, because that does not have an increased chance. Aeroblast does, and that is GG. Surf does over half, and then it knocks out Charizard, so it was a range. And then Venusaur, we go for Psychic. Guess I should have gone for Aeroblast. But we win. Lugia pretty much obliterated Red. I had to figure out what TM to use, but as I speed through the credits and save my game, 6 hours and 30 minutes. There is a reason Pokemon 2000 is not about Ho-Oh, but in fact, the true master of all birds, Lugia. Now, I genuinely do wonder if this would carry over to other games. I kind of want to try this in Gen 3 at some point. I think that would be really fun. But for now, holy mackerel, Lugia just, even though it had worse attacking stats, its move pool and access to the right moves at the right time gave it a huge advantage over Ho-Oh. And it is not just better than Ho-Oh, but better than every other legendary, excluding the Pokemon GOAT, even though it looks like a cat, Mewtwo. Thank you guys for watching. I'm not making another video tomorrow, but I will be back soon with another new one, and I hope you all take care.